I just finished watching the Popstar Academy documentary series on Netflix, and oh my gosh, I don't know what it is about HYBE and documentaries, but we need to shut it down. HYBE does not need to be making any more documentaries about their groups after this point. They want to invoke more dramatic moments to be able to appeal to larger audiences and incentivize people to watch the shows, but what it ends up doing, in the case of both LE SSERAFIM and now Katseye, is harming the members of the group the documentaries portray. The way Popstar Academy is presented fully paints some of the members of Katseye and a lot of the contestants of Dream Academy as villains. Part of this I blame HYBE and Geffen, obviously, but another big part of this that cannot be ignored, and similar to the LE SSERAFIM documentary situation, the people posting think pieces about this and dragging the members of Katseye and Dream Academy contestants through the mud actually did not watch the series. Or maybe they did watch the series, but characteristic to K-pop fans, they lack the ability to comprehend what actually happened. They couldn't give a 2-minute synopsis of what the documentary was about as a whole, yet are weighing in to call Manon the villain, or calling Sophia and Lara the villains. The way that I see it, none of the contestants of this show should be labeled as evil or villains or mean girls for what happened on the show, and I want to tell you why I think so. If you don't know, HYBE's documentary Popstar Academy has recently been released on Netflix. It dives a lot deeper into how Katseye was formed as a group. I think one of the most pivotal and important moments of Popstar Academy to consider is the revelation that the contestants of Dream Academy did not know they were signing up for a survival show. They found out it was a competition just as soon as the fans did. The contestants were deliberately kept in the dark while training for the purposes of drama for this Netflix documentary series. Dream Academy's transition into a competition was very sudden, and a bulk of this documentary outlines how much that change impacted the dynamic and relationship between all of the contestants. It's at this point where and why the documentary is being discussed across social media and people are labeling certain contestants as mean girls. Popstar Academy does not paint some of the existing members of Katseye in the best lights, particularly revolving around the situation regarding Manon's role on the show. As members of this training program, they go from believing that everyone around them has the ability to debut as long as they work hard enough, to the prospect that they will probably be eliminated for factors that are no longer in their control. The burden of global audience voting becomes the central plot point halfway through the series that almost every contestant reconciles with in some way. It no longer matters that they're the best dancer or singer if they're showing up to practice and rehearsals every single day and putting in the work. If the global audience votes places them at the bottom of the ranking, none of their hard work matters anymore. They can no longer work hard enough on their performance ability to win public favor if it's going to someone else on the show, which is where Manon becomes a central plot point during episode 5 of this series titled The Math Ain't Mathing. Manon has been sick for rehearsals and is consistently not showing up for practice. As a result of this, the contestants aren't as close to her as they are the others who have been showing up. There are several members who aren't showing up for practice, but yet Manon is singled out by the contestants because of how popular she was during audience voting. Manon immediately started ranking very high all around the world, and towards the end of episode 5, the contestants expressed to the show's psychologist how frustrated they are that people like Manon are getting so many votes without putting in as much effort during practice. The series outlines the situation quite plainly. It resolves on a good note, but it does require the viewer to infer what's going on, which inference, as we found, is not a skill that many K-pop fans hold in their toolkits. From Manon's perspective, she started the program at a severe disadvantage over being sick and immediately fell behind. Manon explains in the show how she questioned whether or not she wanted to go through with the program after immediately falling behind due to her sickness and not feeling like she could measure up to the other contestants who had been practicing all this time. As soon as the show turns competitive, Manon's effortless popularity becomes a point of contention for everyone on the show. Manon realizes through the favorable audience voting results that she may have a chance and decides to start showing up for practice and developing her skills as a performer. It's this dynamic that presents the most unfortunate and unfair aspect of the idol and entertainment industry, that hard work and consistently doing your best and developing a competitive edge over other contestants won't even get you half of the way to achieving your dreams. The rest of the way is subjective and based on audience votes from around the world that are very difficult to influence. The rest of the way to the idol industry cannot necessarily be earned through hard work, right? This is why the show's shift to a competition is such a key component to this story. None of the contestants were prepared for something like this, and with Manon's effortless popularity despite not showing up to practice, the other contestants became demoralized at the prospect that they may lose their spot in this group to someone who hasn't put in nearly enough effort as they did. Suddenly, the contestants and their friends who have been working hard are being eliminated from the show. It's not Manon's fault, but for the contestants who still have to worry about their own place on this program, they start to blame her for the unfairness of the entertainment industry as she is coming to represent it. Manon reconciles with the rest of the contestants as the show enters its final stage. The members of the program agree to continue on and put everything behind them, and the show continues to the end. Obviously, Manon does end up debuting, and it's kind of clear at the final ceremony that the contestants do still resent her in some ways, or at least they did in that moment, for everything that has happened. Despite Manon putting in the work to measure up to people's expectations, it still wasn't really enough for some people in the end. The show ends on a good note despite all of this, but the image of people like Sophia and Lara have been honestly completely soured due to how the show has constructed itself as a drama series first and foremost. We know how this story ends, right? And so the only draw from a producer's perspective for people to watch this show is presenting something unique and enticing for entertainment purposes, but we're now left with a very unfortunate situation for the existing group that is Katseye. I'm very frustrated by the end of this show and worried that Sophia and Lara are going to have a very tough time living this down. If you put yourself in the situation that was this show, nobody is really in the wrong here. Everyone was justified to feel the way that they did, being so close to their dreams and unexpectedly presented with the prospect that they will lose this opportunity and there's nothing that they can do anymore to fix that problem. Sophia was consistently at the top of the show's rankings and evaluations, as was Lara, but they were losing their friends in the process. The people around them who were working just as hard, if not harder than they were, are suddenly eliminated from the show. They're presented with this idea that the results of this show are becoming more and more unstable, and they themselves may find themselves being eliminated as well for reasons that are out of their control. Everyone was demoralized as soon as the first wave of eliminations went out for this reason. I don't think anyone should be to blame for this situation besides the show's producers, who had the idea to not tell the Dream Academy contestants that they were in a competition. They did it for the purposes of drama, and so this post-debut series would have some kind of incentive for people to watch it, but in the end, now the members are painted in a very unfortunate light across social media for simply being frustrated at the unfairness of the idol and entertainment industry. Manon was unfairly targeted and singled out, yet the other contestants were justified to feel frustrated by the changing dynamic of this show. They shouldn't have blamed Manon for it, but that is what happened, right? I don't think anyone was in the wrong here, and they have since reconciled and are now in a group together, and we're doing pretty good, and now I feel like this documentary is putting them back at square one. The members are going to have to work to address the images that this show has put onto them. That is what is really unfair about all of this. I don't think this documentary was effective for that reason, and now there's discord among the larger K-pop fan base, and even among the fans of Katseye themselves. That's what I think about this. Again, the show does end on a somewhat positive note, but the show's producers constructed the series in a way that you have to use comprehension skills to be able to piece the bigger picture together, and that is a tall task for the greater K-pop community these days, which is why I believe we see people so volatile towards Sophia and Lara as a result of what was shown in this series. Yeah, oh my gosh, I am so frustrated with HYBE. Once again, it is literally insane, but thank you for watching this if you did. If you watched the show and have any thoughts on this, definitely let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching this. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time.